morning, friends. This is my fourth talk on the Four Noble Truths. And for those newcomers this morning, Don mentioned about the Four Noble Truths this morning. So just to refresh everybody on the Four Noble Truths, I'm going to give like a very simple and direct description on the Four Noble Truths. The first truth is the truth of suffering. We have to face the reality or the fact that life is full of suffering or misery. That's the first truth. Second is the truth of the causes of suffering. We need to find out what are the causes. Number three, we are ensured that suffering can cease. Number four, the truth of the path that leads to the ending or cessation of suffering. So those are the brief description of the Four Noble Truths, which is the foundation or basic teaching of the Buddha. Now, at this point, because I just mentioned that this is my fourth talk on the topic, so we have already finished the first truth, suffering. Well, everybody suffers, right? So I don't have to say any more about it. But we'll revisit it from time to time. And we also finished part of the second truth. I'm on the second part, which is the causes of suffering. Last talk, we mentioned it about the three aspects of the cause of suffering. If you're new here, if you haven't heard the previous talks, that's fine, that's fine. This is just treat this as a planting of a little seed in your mind, and hopefully and eventually it's going to sprout in the future. Or if you have any question, I'll be here after lunch for like 1 hour. Stacy used to be here to do the sharing after lunch. She's not here today. I believe that it's because that this is the end of the month. And I'm supposed to have a sitting session. So that is why she's not here. But you know, if anybody would like to do some discussion after lunch, I'll be here. So don't worry about it for a time being. Just maybe plant a little seed in the mind. So we have mentioned there are three aspects in regard to the causes of suffering. Number one is the generation of the karmic energy. And we spent an entire talk last time talking about the karmic energy. Number two is actions performed due to ignorance and connected with defiance. Number three is the condition favorable for the maturing and arising of the consequences. So far we have talked about the karmic energy and also the 5 factors of the law of nature. Okay. I don't know if anybody here remember that. If not, that's okay too. It's coming, you will be able to remember it when you hear more about it. So, just a little reminder that our actions, things that we do, our actions, there are 3 types of actions. Physical action, we know that, right? Like when I'm, raising my hand, it's a physical action. And then we have the verbal action. When I talk, this is my verbal action. So our actions actually generate karmic energies that bears fruits. If I don't open my eyes, I close my eyes, and I can't read my notes. So my action, by opening my eyes, looking at the notes, I read. Okay? So opening the eye, pay attention to my notes, reading is the consequence. Okay? That makes sense, right? Okay, and then one more step. Wholesome action is going to bring wholesome results. Unwholesome action, it's going to activate a negative karmic energy, which eventually is going to bring unwholesome results or suffering. So suffering and misery of our current life. Why am I born here and not in Africa? And not in west of Africa, that what happened there. Anybody read the news? Ebola. Yeah. So, there is a reason that I was born here. Actually, I wasn't born here, I was born in China. That I was born as a human, not a dog. There's some reason behind it. Okay? So our suffering, our result here on this current life, it's because it's caused by the volitional actions performed either in our previous lives or even in our current lives. So we bear the fruit now because the condition is ripened, is favorable for all these seeds to sprout, all these fruits. Okay? We have a cause, we have a consequence, but we do need conditions for those results to be mature. So it's cause, consequence, condition. Okay? So how about suffering? How about suffering? It's because our actions are connected to mental defilements. We generally act and react based on our habitual pattern, which were formed from beginningless time. Okay? Our actions directed by defiled volitions, and this is a Pali word called sankhara. Okay? The volitional actions, it's called sankhara. Why we perform unwholesome actions, or even actions? It's because we don't understand the reality or the true phenomena within ourselves, within this body and mind. And also we do not understand clearly what happened outside the world around us. Okay? We actually live, whether we want to believe it or not, we live in illusions and delusions that are provided by our sense faculties and our previous experience. If I touch the fire, I know it burns. That's an experience that we learn. So that next time when we see the fire, we will put our hand in it. Right? Those are the experiences that we learn. So when we see we have been bitten by a snake, so next time you see a rope that looks like a snake, what do? You don't want to get close to it. But then is it true a rope is a snake? Not necessary, right? So we are living in such kind of illusion and delusion provided by our previous experience and our sense faculty. Now there is a Chinese word that used it by Venerable Master Insun, and I would like to share that with you. It's this word here. It's called, it sounds like huo. Huo. Okay? This is actually a combination of two characters. I'm going to tear this up. It's huo plus xin. Okay, this is a character. Huo means, and let me read this, maybe, probably, if, or, perhaps, might, either. It's full of uncertainty, unsettling, and confusion. Xin is the heart, the mind. Okay? So what do we do? Having these two characters together, we have uncertainty, unclearness, confusion sitting on top of our mind. Is that illusion and delusion? Definitely, it is. Okay? So this is our mental defilement. This is a defiled mind. This is a sterling mind. This is an ignorant mind that we have, that we live with. So these mental defilements actually activates and nourish our karmic energy, our negative karmic energy that is going to bring suffering, unwholesome results, that is going to turn into sankhara. And we know that when we act with sankhara, act with unwholesome or volitional defilements, suffering is bound to happen. And not only that, that's not the end of it. Okay? When our mind is confused, it's uncertain, it's sterling, it's ignorant, then we act with more negative actions. And it's going to accumulate. So it's going to snowball. It's going to go round, 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 and round. And we're trapped in this cycle of suffering. Huo is actually an expression or representation of, and I know that Dharma is very familiar with this term, 烦恼, defilement, vexation, because of not understanding the reality. Our mind is contaminated with defilements. In the Buddhist term, it is called, because of ignorance, defiled mental volition or sankhara arises. Now, ignorance and sankhara are intimately related. If you trace up to the 12 links of depending origination, the first one is ignorance, first link, then it comes sankhara. So, number one and number two. And then, consciousness, name and form, six sense bases, contact, feeling, craving, clinging, becoming, and birth. Now, when birth occurs, when we have this life, what is evident? Old age, sickness, sorrow, lamentation. Who can avoid death? Who can avoid that? So when there is birth, death is bound to happen. Right? Okay. So karmic energy do not disappear. We think that, okay, if I suffer in this current life, or what if I just commit suicide? What if I just end my life here? And do I end suffering? Not necessary, because the karmic energy that we accumulated, it's going to follow us to the next existence. It does not vanish just, upon death. So what do? We're trapped into this, what we call the cycle of samsara, the cycle of rebirth, the cycle of rebecoming. Now, according to Venerable Master Insun, mental defilements or vexations are very complicated and very difficult to apprehend. We can learn this concept maybe by two levels. Okay, one is at the grosser or surface level. The other one is at the subtler and deeper level. At the grosser level or the surface level, defilements can be categorized into three streams, what we call the three poisons. Okay? Craving, aversion, and ignorance. Master Insun mentioned that these three poisons are actually the roots of the defilements and the unwholesomeness in human being. All the others are branches of these three roots. Now, according to Abhidhamma Samyu, let me pronounce this correctly, Abhidhamma Sumuchaya. Okay, it's a commentary. There are 51 mental factors. Out of the 51, 22 are actually defiled mental factors. They are unwholesome mental factors. On the handout that I just gave you, let's see, do I understand? Oh no, the other one is the 40 subjects of meditation. So, if you're interested in the 51 mental factors, give me your email address and I'll email it to you. Okay? So, let's take a look at these. Craving, I just mentioned that the root is three. There are three roots, right? Craving would include unwholesome factors like desire, clinging, longing, stinginess, self-conceit, restlessness, and dishonesty. And then aversion would include mental factors like resentment, spitefulness, jealousy, furious, etc. Ignorance would include mental factors like wrong view, doubt, lack of trust, sloth, forgetfulness, and attentiveness. As human beings, we are all born with defilements as our trait. Who's perfect here? Nobody's perfect, right? So we do have our shortcomings. Now, we do have one or sometimes more of the mental defilements, because one kind may be stronger than the other kind. For example, I could have a personality with aversion more than craving. That means I can get angry easier than being greedy or stingy. But then I could be, possessed with a personality that I could be ignorant, greedy, and get angry very easily. I could have all of them. Okay? All depends on individual. Each individual has their own unique personality. Now, that is to say that, we have to admit nobody is perfect. But then, how do we know ourselves? Actually, know thyself is the first step. We have to understand what is my personality. We have to determine who am I first. What kind of defilements that I have before we can take steps or select a technique that will make a positive change or reduce the negative sankhara. an updated translation of the commentary, The Purification of the Path by a Taiwan Venerable Wu. You know, she just make a new translation of the Purification of the Path, the commentary. She stated, in the commentary, it stated that the human personality can be categorized by either the 14 type, the 3 type, or 6 types. The 14 and the 3 types are actually inclusive or included or mix and match of the 6 types. So we have actually 6 types that we have to worry about at this point in time. What are the 6? Craving, aversion, ignorance, devotion, wisdom, and temperament or temperamental. Okay? Now, your handout, there is a chart. Now I come to the handouts. There is a chart that I listed some comparison of the characteristics of the different personalities. I'll go through just a few of them, like under the circumstances when wholesome sankhara, wholesome volition arises, a person predominant with craving, a person with that kind of, with a craving predominant, then at the same time, the devotion actually becomes stronger because devotion and craving, they have the same nature. Now, under the circumstances when unwholesome volition or mental formation arises, craving would be very subtle and very difficult to detect. So is devotion. Okay? Craving would be crave for external objects or subjects like material thing. Like I would crave for a bigger house. And I would crave for, hey, people praise me. My name is written somewhere, being known. Okay? That's a characteristic of craving. But devotion also seek for something, but they seek for more internal, like morality and merits. Now, as far as for attachment, craving would be not willing to let go on things that are harmful. Devotion would be not willing to let go for things that is beneficial. So there are similarity and differences. As far as for aversion, wholesome sankhara, when wholesome sankhara arises, the person predominant with aversion would not detach on objects. For example, if somebody slapped me, do I want to attach to the slap? Hey, please give me more slap. No. So I might get angry, upset, and I might revenge, but I won't detach to that slap. Okay. I might remember, hey, this person slapped me. I might remember that. But the actual action, I will not attach to it. Okay? Wisdom, on the other hand, which is, they have a similar nature, okay, with aversion. But again, a wise person will not attach not only to the slap, but would understand that, maybe I did something. Okay, there is a difference. Now, when unwholesome sankhara arises, the person predominant with aversion will not compromise. They don't cling to the slab, but they won't compromise. That means they won't forget and forget. Non-reality versus reality. A person predominant with aversion, they'll be blinded by the burning fire. They'll be so furious, then they won't be able to see the truth. While person with wisdom, they will see the reality of the problem. That means they will find out the truth. Okay? And action. Person with aversion, anger will arise. And they will put blinds. First of all, you must be wrong. I'm right. Okay? And they will take actions to reproach or revenge. Person with wisdom, they will be clear in knowing any kind of action would have a cause. Okay? So there are differences. I'll let you read the ignorance and temperamental. It's pretty similar in a way. So there are various ways to detect our personality. Some of the methods that was written is not that reliable, not that accurate, but some of them are very reliable. And according to the commentary, the best way, according to the commentary, is to have a sanely person or a teacher to point it out for you, to diagnose for you. That's the safest, that's the most effective way. So seek for a teacher. But I would like to share with you some of the methods. This is just for your reference, okay? You don't have to follow it. Just for your reference. We might be able to detect these phenomena in us when it arises. A craving type of person usually will be proud. Hey, I'm better than you. Okay? Be dishonest. White line, maybe. And conceited. Desire for non-virtuous things, like a diamond ring or something. Demanding, not easy to satisfy. I drive a Honda, I would like to drive a Mercedes. With strong sensual desire and disrespectful. This is the characteristic of a craving person, craving type person. An aversion type of person would be with resentment, always unhappy. Okay? Hey, why did the other guy drive like a crazy person and I'm not? Why didn't they pave the road as I wish it to do? Why did the teacher teach me such a boring lecture? Resentment. Getting angry very easily. Furious. Jealousy. Okay? My sister's son got into Harvard. Yeah. Just pure luck. Okay? Those kind of jealousy. Slyness, concealment. Okay, I won't tell the truth. Stinginess. Hey, this is mine. Don't take it from me. Okay? Spitefulness. An ignorant person will be with sloth and torpor. Meditation? Maybe after my noon nap. No, not today. Tomorrow, I'll start my diet tomorrow, not today. Drowsiness, worry, what if? Restless, I shouldn't be sitting here. Where's lunch? Restless. Doubt. Are you sure? Is this teaching is good for me? Maybe it's good for you, not for me. I can't do it. Doubt. Stubborn. I want it now. This is my paper. Nobody takes it from me. Stubborn. Clinging. A devoted person would have the characteristic of a generous, like you all. Glad to meet good teachers and friends, like you all. Eager to listen to the righteous teaching. Why you're here. Joyful, truthful, believe in matters that are trustworthy. A wise person would be kind and friendly, self-control on right amount of food intake. I confess, I don't. I like chocolate. With right mindfulness and right knowledge, diligent, work with right effort, and concern only on matters that are worthy of concern. A temperamental person will be talkative, enjoy being with the crowd, dislike to work hard to benefit others, cannot finish tasks, mind won't be concentrated, easily attracted to external objects. They plant at night, a night hawk, and implement at daytime. Now, I don't quite understand what this means, so I'll give you this homework. Go home and search what this means. If we check ourselves closely, we'll find that we might not just have only one of these characteristics. We might have more than one. But it's a good thing because at least we know, right? Even though we have more than one. Now the commentary, The Path of Purification, listed 40 subjects of contemplation. Of course, you know, I open the wound, then it's my responsibility to give you some remedy or balm to heal the wound. On your handout, there at the back of the handout of the chart, there are 40 subjects of meditation. Okay? You don't have to read it now, and don't worry, I'm not going to go over each one of them. So, I don't want to bore you to death. So, now I list this for a reason, okay? Because these subjects may be suitable to adapt for different personality. You can practice on, one or more of these subjects. Now let me list this out for a little bit. A craving type of personality may contemplate on the 10 impurity plus the mindfulness of the body, which is the 30 parts of the body taught in the Satipatthana Sutta. This will help reducing the desire and attachment to the physical form. An aversion type of personality may contemplate on the 4 divine abode. It's listed here, so don't worry about that. On the 4 divine abode, or the Brahma Vihara, plus the 4 colors casinos. This will help detaching from the unwholesome mental factors of aversion. An ignorant type of personality may be more suitable to contemplate on the breath or practice what we call the anapanasati. This will help clearing the confused mind. A devotional type of personality may be more suitable to practice the 6 recollections. This will strengthen the devoted mind and help develop wisdom. A wisdom type of personality may contemplate on the recollection on depth, stillness, the four perception realms, and the perception of the lost sum of nutrition because of their capability. A temperamental type of personality may want to limit his object of contemplation. If you have a wild objects that you contemplate during your meditation, a temperamental type of personality may not be suitable to do that. So just limit your area, focus on one thing, a smaller scope. In that way, your already restless mind won't be more restless. Makes sense, right? Okay. Now, I would like to say a little bit more about the 3 poisons before I end my talk here. According to Venerable Master Insun, craving is a form of self-conceit. This is due to the attachment of this I and mind, clinging to the past, to the present, and extended to the future. Okay? So such kind of craving and clinging is like the subtlest of water. It seeps in everywhere. Okay? When you pour water, it will go into every single hole, everywhere, every space. Now this is the subtlest of craving. Okay? Sometimes craving can motivate wholesome actions too. But that actions, don't forget that actions connected with defilement are not ultimately skillful. Number 2 is aversion. You said that aversion is the ill will generated from dissatisfaction of the circumstances. Of course, who would like being slapped or reproached? Right? So I'm not satisfied with that. So ill will arises. Now when outburst, it turns into confrontation, anger, harmfulness, or rage. When we conceal our aversion, it is hatred, jealousy, and resentment. Aversion is a very, very, very serious defilement. Many evil actions or unwholesome actions were performed because of aversion. Many virtuous actions are hindered by aversion. Now, ignorance. Ignorance means not understanding or not knowing the reality. Translated into Chinese, it's called Wu Ming. That means without brightness. It's just like a person staying in the dark room. It's not clear what's happening. Illusion, delusion. Now, Venerable Insun mentioned that ignorance doesn't mean that you don't know anything. You could be a PhD, very smart in certain things, but you don't know the reality of the law of nature, which is impermanence, non-self, and dukkha, suffering. Okay? That is what ignorance means. Now, an elusive person, a person with illusion, they will have a delusive mind, delusive view, and upside-down view. He perceives things elusively, act doubtfully, and indecisive. This is the most difficult defilement to get rid of. It is the root. It is the root for becoming. And I thank you for your patience. May all beings be happy. May all beings